sometimes we have to use visualization and in a way that we can predict or foresee all of these negative things that could happen and start to prepare ourselves for that time.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up? What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. And the reason I started this podcast is because I want to try and help alleviate some of the suffering that's happening out there in silence, for the people that are out there that maybe don't know who to talk to, how to start the conversation, or even how to put the words to the feelings that they are feeling. And so that's my goal. If you're down with that message and you want to try and help out other people in regards to mental health and self-development, you're going to enjoy this podcast. And if you're not down for that message and you want other people to suffer and you don't really care about your own suffering, then you're probably not going to fucking like this and you might want to listen to another podcast. So let's jump into exactly what it is that I wanted to chat about today, which is visualization and how that can help us out in terms of motivation or discipline, etc. So I want to preface this by saying that this is actually part of a conversation in the WhatsApp group that I've just started. It's a community where people can actually have these open and authentic conversations. If you want to talk to me or you want to talk to other people as well about these types of topics, message me on Instagram. If you are watching the video version of this, you'll see it right at the bottom of the screen right here. And if you're listening to the podcast version, my social media tags will be in the show notes as well. So you can check that out and reach out to me on social media if you want to join this group, or if you just have any questions about it, or you want to refer it to a friend, etc. But in this group, we were having this conversation yesterday, and we were talking about, our wins and, what we were up to that day. And I had just gotten back from work and just finished a workout. And we've kind of chatted a little bit about ourselves so people kind of know what's up. And someone had reached out and said, it's crazy that you work in construction every single day and still don't miss any workouts on any days at all. And so they were kind of talking to me and saying that they use that as inspiration or motivation. And then another guy who also works in construction was saying that he finds it a little bit difficult to get his workouts in after a day of work because he's so goddamn tired after working in construction. And my reply was very simple. I said, well, your body is going to adjust to what it does most of the time. So if you come home after work, regardless of what you do at work, and you sit on the couch or you lay down in bed, your body's going to know that that's what you do all the time, and it's going to prime its energy levels almost to do those things. So if you always lay down after work, then you're going to feel tired after work. Your body's going to prime you to do the things that you always do. Whereas the opposite end of that is, if you come home from work and then you go and play sports or you go and work out or whatever you do, you just move more, you maybe go and play with your kids if you're a parent, whatever it could be, taking care of your house chores, whatever it is, right? Your body is going to know that, when you get home from work, whatever time that's at, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then it's going to know that you still need to move and it's going to keep producing energy. So far as, you're eating properly, you're fueling your body properly, and you're sleeping properly, which means you're resting properly, your energy levels are going to cater to what you do most often. And so how does visualization tie into this? Well, that's what I kind of use as my motivating factor when I feel like I don't want to fucking work out. Yesterday I got home, I had a long day at work, it was one of those 9-10 hour shifts. And then I'm beat. I'm a carpenter, so I'm moving around. I'm lifting things all day. I'm pouring concrete, etc. And I get home yesterday and I'm like, fuck, man, I really don't want to work out. And so this is kind of the feeling that this guy was talking to me about when you get home from work and you've done a bunch of labor or you've maybe mentally exhausted yourself and you're just feeling like I don't want to work out right now or I can't work out right now. I don't have the energy to. And that's exactly how I was feeling yesterday. And so this is how visualization comes into play. And when I talk about visualization, I don't really know what the general consensus is, but I'm going to tell you the way I think about visualization. And there's two ways to use visualization. And the first one is probably the one that's most common, that you hear most commonly spoken about, which is using visualization in a positive sense to give you something to strive towards. And so this is something that we've all heard about, right? They tell you that, and this is something that even I talk about all the time, where I say, visualize the person like who you are right now, and visualize the person that you want to be in the future, and then visualize what you stand for and how to get from where you are right now to where you want to be, etc. And that gives you something to strive towards. You can actually almost write out a roadmap for yourself and dictate, this is where I'm at right now, this is where I want to be, and these are the steps A, B, and C that I need to complete, whatever it is, right? That's visualizing. Another visualization tool is, coming up to maybe a tough day at work or a game, like if you're an athlete, whatever it could be. If you're a fighter, you're going towards a challenge, you want to visualize yourself winning. You want to visualize yourself completing whatever task that you're going to have to do, and visualize the best case scenario, which is you winning, right? And so this is kind of all well and good, and it's a useful tool, and I really appreciate kind of positive visualization for myself. I find that to be motivating a lot, and I know that many other people use this tool, right? Like having that positive visualization. And so that's great, and it's a good way to use visualization, but what is the other side of visualization? Is there another way that we can use this tool in our benefit? And so, because I've been doing a lot of reading on, Stoic philosophy this year and a couple other philosophies, but mainly Stoic philosophies, and one value that I pulled out of, a lot of these stories and these philosophies, especially around Stoicism and those types of things, is a tool to use visualization in a completely different way. And so when I'm feeling like, there's those days where I feel like I really don't want to, or I really just can't do a workout or do any extra work, maybe on this podcast or for my, other job that I'm working in construction. If I'm feeling like, man, I really can't do any more work, then one of the tools that I use is what I kind of refer to as negative visualization. And when I say negative visualization, I'm not talking about, thinking about things going wrong all the time and then trying to fulfill that destiny. What I am saying, and this kind of seems like, especially when I first started using this tool, it seemed kind of sick and twisted in my head. But what I try and do now, and this is something like I'm telling you, this is powerful shit. What I try and do is I try and use negative visualization. I try and think of, the worst possible scenarios events that I'd have to go through, right? And so I'm not a parent, and if you are, this is going to be even easier. But when I have to do a workout, for example, or do a little bit of extra labor at work when I'm working in construction, when my body's feeling like it's going to shut down and I'm feeling like I'm too tired or too hungry or too sore to kind of complete whatever job that I know I need to do, I start to imagine some sick and twisted things that could happen in my future where I'm going to need to dig deep. Say I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning and, knock on wood, but I'm hoping that I never get this, but in the event that I do get a call at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and one of my family members or one of my parents is in dire need of help or assistance, or, it could be your kid if you're a parent, these types of things trigger certain parts of our, adrenaline system and other things as well. But it really allows me to start to dig deep and think, how much energy, how much fucking strength, how much endurance do I really have? If this was the worst case scenario, if we're talking like zombie apocalypse, how long can I run for? How strong can I be if I had to lift something off of one of my family members? how strong could I be, or how much endurance would I have if I had to carry one of my family members out of a burning building, or whatever it could be. Again, these aren't always realistic things, but what I am saying is sometimes we have to use visualization and in a way that we can predict or foresee all of these negative things that could happen and start to prepare ourselves for that time. And so this is a way that I find it to be useful, to use something that's really negative as a visualization tool to motivate myself to not only get stronger, to get better endurance, but to be smarter as well. When I don't want to read anymore or study anymore or expand my perspectives or expand my knowledge, this is a tool that I use to give myself a little bit more motivation and a little bit more mental endurance so that I can make it through the training sessions I'll need to have the physical endurance as well. And if you can pull off, doing that extra work at work when you really don't want to do it, or you really feel like you got no more gas in the tank, or completing your workout, or completing more reading, or completing more studying, or completing, a tough conversation that you have to have with someone, using this negative visualization tool of thinking about the worst case scenario for yourself and how you'd have to navigate out of that is going to make your everyday, day-to-day life a walk in the fucking park. It's going to, like I said, if you visualize the worst case scenario and yourself being able to navigate out of that, then when you actually live the realistic scenario, what you actually have to go through, you've already thought about every single contingency plan. You've already thought about every single problem that could arise, and likely, it is likely that not all of these scenarios are going to come up. And so if you prepare yourself, to have the worst days ever happen to you, and you've already mentally prepared yourself and physically prepared yourself and emotionally and spiritually prepared yourself, and you've done the work to prepare for these types of days, your average day is not going to be that bad. So it's going to seem like a walk in a park. So this is going to acclimate you to having more stressors in your life, whether they be emotional or physical or spiritual stressors, whatever it could possibly be. If you acclimate yourself to having these things in your life and you prepare your body and your mind and your soul for these events to happen, you're going to be a lot more, better protected and better prepared for the shitty things that can come to you in life. And so this ties into mental health, self-development, physical development, physical health. And I think that it's a tool that we can all use to kind of better our lives all together. And so I hope that this kind of gave you guys a little bit of value, a new perspective, or a new tool to use to add to your toolbox to make your life a little bit better. And so if you did find some value in this, and you do kind of think that maybe one of your friends or family members might be able to share some value out of this as well, then please do share this with them. Send them the YouTube episode or send them the fucking podcast episode, and spread this message that no matter what it is that you are going through right now, life can and will get better for you. Just sometimes we got to put in some more work. We got to put in that elbow grease. And so that's all I got for today. It's a pretty short episode, but I think that kind of gives you guys a new tool to use. And I hope that I entertained you as well in the meantime. So thank you so much. That's all I've got going on for today. If you have something you want me to discuss, or if you have any questions, or if you want to join the group that I've been talking about, then please do reach out to me on social media. Like I said, my Instagram page will be in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be at the bottom of the screen right here. And if you listen to the podcast version, it's in the show notes. That's all I got. Go out and fucking kill it today. Have the best day of your life. Have the best week, the best month, and the best fucking year for the rest of 2021, or whenever the fuck you listen to this. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Much love and peace out. Let's fucking go, baby.